Well, hello again. My name is Roger Janik. I'm the host of Block Game. Today's episode is called Blockchain or Bust. And that's exactly what I'm going to look at. A company that's either going to go blockchain or it's going to go bust. It's going to do one of those two things in the future. And what that means is I'm looking at a company that is a startup. It doesn't have a working application on the blockchain, which is called a DApp, which stands for Decentralized Application. And today is an interesting one. I'm looking at a company called Dfinity, which has a lot of media, a lot of hype, a lot of investors, but still no working application yet, except for what they put on what's called the testnet. So I want to look at them. I want to look at what they claim and kind of weigh the pros and the cons, and then maybe you can take your assumptions from there on whether you feel like they're a good company to look at. So what's the concept? Dfinity claims to be the internet computer. So this world computer, right, that's unstoppable, has unlimited storage, unlimited performance, and then it has this cool governance, self-governance objective and feature. So what does that sound like? Sounds familiar, right? Sounds a little like Ethereum. Well, that's because it is a lot like Ethereum. But it's a better, faster, leaner, quicker, more efficient Ethereum. So that in itself is a big goal and a lofty goal, right? So let's talk about the benefits. Now, one of the big ones is self-governance, which is interesting because in the world of blockchain, that's something you hear a lot about is self-governance. Some people refer to that as a DAO, a decentralized autonomous organization, one that can run itself. Specifically with the guys at Dfinity, what self-governance will do and will help happen is to freeze damaging smart contracts, to mitigate effects of hacks, to dynamically optimize the network security and economics, and then also to automatically upgrade its protocols and software without disrupting users. So all that's pretty neat, and how they're going to achieve that is something they call thought mining. It's where they're combining crowd wisdom with AI, which sounds really sexy. It's artificial intelligence with the crowd, and it gets really complex. They get into these very complex algorithms and the way they do this. I'm not going to dive into all of the ins and outs of how they're achieving this. But one of the things I will say that's interesting is that as a miner, you will earn Dfinity tokens, is what they call them, or Dfinities. And the more of these you have, the more voting power you have. So you can vote, right? So that's going to help. That's with the self-governance. So the people that use the application and mine the application and have earned these Dfinities will actually have the right to vote on how the whole software will change. So that's kind of a neat concept. So another thing that is a big benefit of this application is cutting IT costs. So imagine having almost zero cost for infrastructure setup. So this Dfinity application being on the blockchain and on hundreds of thousands of nodes or computers all over the world, they will share the storage and processing, right? So you can store unlimited, processing power will be unlimited. So that's pretty neat, right? And that's kind of the power of the blockchain and the disruption of the blockchain is that you can do all of these really grandiose ideas and hopefully achieve them one day. Some of these applications have been released. This is a big lofty goal. It hasn't been released yet, but like I said, they've raised a lot of money and we'll get to that. One of the benchmarks that they've kind of said and touted is that they've been able to finalize computations in 1 second compared to Ethereum, which is 600 seconds, and then for Bitcoin, which is 3,600 seconds. So that's pretty exciting. Then they also have, I talked about a little bit about the mining. The mining is really critical to this, and that can also be seen as an obstacle because in order to deploy something like this, Ethereum already has miners out there that help mine these transactions and get it going. But Dfinity will also need those miners, so they're going to have that adoption. And be curious to see how they can pull that off. One of the things that they're doing to pull that off is they are reaching out to these data warehouses and trying to get them to take some of their free servers and convert those to Dfinity servers, so they can run the Dfinity software. So we'll see how that works out. They also may be taking shipping containers and creating their own little data centers out of these shipping containers. And they have money to do this, to buy this and kind of set this infrastructure up. So those are some of the ways they're going to help with the mining problem and the adoption of it. So the other way that they're going to save money for IT companies is human capital. So they're going to be cutting, they say by using their system, you can lay off lots of employees, right? So there's the good and the bad, right? You need less labor, it saves you a lot of money. But on the other hand, it affects a lot of people's careers and their jobs. But that's kind of the whole controversy of AI in itself, isn't it? What's it going to do to the world when, robots are running everything? But someone's still got to maintain those computers and robots. So the other thing that's interesting is that they have raised a lot of money. They've gotten up to almost $100 million. That's a lot of money, and that's probably why there's a lot of hype and a lot of buzz behind this. But they're also decided to not do a token raise. Right now, at least April of 2018, there's not a lot of set rules on how to do a token raise legally, especially in America. The SEC is really clamping down. They're handing out subpoenas left and right. So this company is smart right now and holding off. They haven't totally ruled out a token raise, a general public token raise, but they're considering it, but they want to wait until there's more defined guidelines and rules laid out by the SEC, and that I really can't blame them. It's probably a wise decision at this point. So what else can I say about Dfinity at this point? They have this thing called the nervous system. And that kind of gets into the whole thought mining, crowd wisdom, and AI combined, and the voting power. But built within this blockchain nervous system, they have a constitution that's kind of built in and also self-governed by the people. And in that constitution, the primary objectives are reversing and mitigating hacks, scheduling appropriate protocol upgrades, and freezing prohibited system types. And I touched on that a little bit earlier. But it's just neat that it kind of has these strong rules and guidelines and this governance, and that it can be controlled by the people that are using it. It's also open source, so you'll be able to build applications on top of the Dfinity network, and that's the main thing here, right? Is it going to be adopted? Is it truly going to be embraced by the community? They certainly have a lot of people behind it, and they have a lot of funding. Most of the staff is engineers and scientists, so they have a lot of smart people behind it. So what does that mean for you right now? The general public, you can't really invest. You're not allowed to, but it's something you can kind of put on the radar and look at and kind of watch it. And that's kind of what this show is all about, the blockchain or bust. It's not to promote a certain brand in any way. It's just to kind of bring to light and kind of expose a new startup company that's on the blockchain that's pretty exciting, maybe the one that has a lot of hype, a lot of interest, and then we kind of, I'll just leave it up to you, the audience, to decide if you think it's going to go blockchain or bust. Matter of fact, I plan on putting a little voting app somewhere where you can vote, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it on this video or not, but if I do, I'll put a link at the end of the video that says, hey, vote. Go ahead and vote now on whether you think this company's going to go blockchain or bust. So look out for that at the end of the video. And yeah, I guess that's really it. Thanks for your time today. Please subscribe to my channel. Hit like if you like it. Comment below, please. This is I'm getting new to this. I'm new to this. I'm getting started. I'm still stumbling on my words. Hopefully, I'll get better and smoother as the time goes on. And this whole thing will evolve, but with your feedback, it will help me to evolve and to make this show something that you want to see and you'll get value out of. So come back and see us next week.